And now it's time for the curtain call with Dr. Tim Lautzenheiser. Tim, tell us, are you married? Do you have kids?
I'm married. Andrea and I do not have children. Andrea and I went to first grade together. Isn't that unbelievable?
Oh my gosh.
In our little country school. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And when did you know she was the one?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I was such a dork. Um, she Adam is like 10 times smarter than I am, though. She's brilliant. She's brilliant.
Hmm.
So,
What kind of sports do you like watching?
oh, well, Indiana. What do you think?
Well, okay, all right.
Basketball for sure. But I like all sports. I like all kinds of stuff where people are involved and active, and I just think that's cool stuff. I like watch mountain climbing. Isn't that weird?
Really watching it.
Well, yeah, just watching those people like take that risk. I just like, holy criminy, right? And it's like I grunt with them thinking that's gonna help. It owns me.
Did you how has COVID been different for you with what you do every day?
I haven't been on an airplane for about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And for 40 years, I was on an airplane almost every day. So this is even doing this with you. I would much rather be sitting with you, having a hamburger and talking face
Mm-hmm.
to face. But, obviously because of the environment that we're in right now, that's not possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's affected that. We've had to shift the way we communicate. Yeah. So,
Yeah. You have any pets?
oh yes.
Do you? What kind of animals
Oh,
do you have?
let's see. We have 5 now. We rescue dogs. I'm an animal lover. And so if a dog, our little humane shelter here, we live in a very small country town. And if they get a dog and nobody will take it, and you know what they're going to do after a while, if nobody takes it. Yeah.
Right.
And so when they'll call and they'll go, okay, Bobo nobody's going to take him. He's old and we'll take him. And so that's what we do. We rescue those old dogs nobody else wants. I love them. I love them. And the dogs know. They know they got saved.
Hmm.
I see you got a doggy too, yeah?
Well, I got 2 of them. Maggie, come here. Come here.
Oh, they're great. They're great.
Yeah,
Look at that.
they're pretty well behaved. Come here. This is Maggie,
Oh,
and I've
oh,
had her since she was
oh.
well, the minute she was born, we got her out of the hole in the ground that her mom, who's behind me, had. And she's just been my best friend for about 8 years. Been
They're so loyal.
fantastic.
Unconditional love.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Yep.
so loyal. Unconditional love.
At this point, though, she feels more like a wife than a child at this point.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Faithful.
Cheaper. Probably cheaper than a wife, I guess. I don't know.
Well, and they're forgiving too, right? Yeah,
More forgiving than a wife, I don't know. I've not been there yet. So
I love it.
um
Congratulations.
if you wouldn't have been a teacher, Tim, what would you have been?
I'm probably a rock and roll drummer.
Really?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I love to play, or a
Mhm.
jazz drummer. I probably would have played on the road. I loved it. I still do. Yeah. But isn't there something about teaching that you love? Just that fizz or whatever it is. Watching a kid go, oh yeah, I get it. And you're like, you do?
Yeah.
Yes. Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And it doesn't make sense to me how when you look at the numbers of the I don't know, the kids that don't get it to the kids that do per se,
Yeah.
and you get way more that are just passing through. And you just get that one person, that boy or girl that they've had a hard upbringing and they appreciate music. They have this
Yes.
it's their lifesaver. Those
Yes.
are like that make everything I've ever gone through to be a music
Yes.
teacher worth it.
No, I'm glad to hear you say that. That's a great testimony. Speaks volumes about you. Because there's probably kids in your choir that need the choir worse than the choir needs them.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
absolutely. And I do band here too.
Yeah.
I
There you go.
didn't. Funny story. So I Scott Jones had just come into Concordia my
Mhm,
first year,
mhm,
and I just got to know him through passing, and I was really struggling with music theory. I'll tell this story because it just tells you how great Scott Jones is, and you and I
mhm,
both know. He
mhm.
now teaches at Ohio State, which
Okay,
is, the cream of the crop, which is right where he should be. And anyways, so I was really struggling with theory, and I was alone in a practice room on a Friday evening, and I was in the dark, and I was just playing piano,
mhm.
and I get a knock on the door, and Dr. Jones pops in, and he goes, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And we talked a little bit, and he asked me how things were going, and I said I was struggling with theory a little bit, and he took me back to his office, and for the next 2.5 hours on a Friday night, we're talking like 7 to 9:30, he
Mhm,
spent that time with me just going over theory. Like, he wasn't my theory teacher, I never had him,
mhm.
and that meant the world to me, and it changed the total projection of. I might not have even finished if it wasn't for him. And so then I just started taking as many classes as I could from him because he cared so much. And that's what prepared me to eventually, now they're combining music teaching positions. So, if you teach choir, you also going to teach band because it's cheaper if we
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
So it prepared me. I didn't know it would, but it totally prepared me to do that. Just by that one act, he prepared the rest of my life.
Yeah. And that's Scott. It's a reflection of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And he was a benefactor.
In closing, who would you say is the teacher that most changed your life?
Which time? um, well, probably initially it was my choir teacher in grade school and high school. She was there the whole way, Miss Sellers. She was tremendous. There was 212 in our high school my last year, and there was 202 in the choir. So that
And what
lets
was
you
her
know.
name?
Miss Sellers,
What was her first name?
Dortha.
Oh my gosh, we had a Dixie Sellers, and I was about to flip out that it was the same lady.
I know.
So
She was,
Dortha, tell us about her.
she was magical. She was magical. And I've told this story many times and this will confirm what you and I have been talking about. When you had to retire at 70 at that time in Indiana, but she taught till she was 84 because nobody was going to fire Miss Sellers. And when she left Adam, they hired 2.5 people to take her job because the program was so huge. Yeah. And the first year the choir went down to just over 100, and then 60, and then 40.
Hmm.
Choir at that school anymore.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It was Miss Sellers,
Yeah, it's
and
hard
she
to
will always
hard to
Sellers, by the way.
replace somebody that's a legend like that.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because when they say, "Well, everybody's replaceable," you can replace a position, but you can't replace a person. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why you'll always be successful because you'll do it till you create that culture of excellence. You get it. Persistence, if nothing else.
Do you think that kids are different now than they were 10, 15, even when you started teaching
Mhm.
50 years ago?
Well, they're certainly more aware. I mean, the technology, if nothing else, has made them more aware. You can, talk to your friend in Australia if you want to, and that was never part. And what is they? I read the other day. It said there's more information um, in one day accessible to students than there was. There's more information, yeah, in one, and they did it with the Wall Street Journal. The amount of information in a Wall Street Journal, they were pointed to something they could get edges on. There's more information in the Wall Street Journal than our grandfathers had in a semester of school. So we're information noised, yeah. It's
Yeah.
at us all the time. You can't get away from it. So that certainly affects, how people behave and act, and uh, the data that they take in and how they make their decisions. So yeah, I think there's difference. I think the heart and soul is still pretty much the same,
Mhm.
or you hope so. Yeah.